is AEW Unrestricted, the official podcast of All Elite Wrestling. Hey there, folks. I'm Will Washington, but I'm never alone here on this show because Aubrey Edwards is also here.
Hello.
Hello, Aubrey.
Hello.
Look, we're getting toward the end of the year. We're in this final stretch of 2025, which is crazy because it feels like it just started. And
I'm still writing 2022 on things. I don't know how time keeps going. It's weird. It's interesting. It's funny because people at work are like, "Oh, how you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm exhausted." But I try to think back to my life where I was working a 9 to 5 in an office. And I was like, I never want to do that again. This is the coolest thing in the world. I get to yell at half naked people for a living on television all over the world. It's dope. I don't mind being exhausted. I'll be on a plane at 7 a.m. I don't care. It's fantastic.
When you're exhausted from something you love, there's nothing in the world like it. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. But the thing you can trade are trading cards, because All Elite Wrestling Unrestricted is brought to you by our friends at Upper Deck. And you can collect your favorite wrestlers in 2025 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. You can unwrap, autograph, memorabilia, or premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. Get these fancy Metal Universe decks.
Shiny.
They're so shiny. And look, you can get really rad cards. For example, I just pulled this one out. Shelton Benjamin, these energized. Look at this. This is a meme in itself. I want to take a picture of this and use this whenever I'm angry.
Superhero.
Yeah, or whenever I'm angry at somebody, I want to send a message to them. I'm I would just do Shelton Benjamin with the angry eyes.
Dude, if Shelton Benjamin showed up in my text messages looking that angry, I'd know someone was being serious. So there you go. I pulled a lot of really cool cards. A lot of our, surprisingly, a lot of our amazing women's roster. We've got Harley Cameron, who someone asked me recently, who is one of the most improved people of 2025, and she was the first name I had off the top of my head.
Got her as well.
Yeah, really? And then we've got Toni Storm, who's one of my absolutely favorite people and has been dominating and holding titles and being just so great at what she does and has adapted and changed over the course of her time at AEW and just done incredible things. I've got both people, even though we're missing a Tekla will have a card eventually, but we've got Sky Blue and we've got Julia Hart, 2 of the 3 of the Triangle of Madness. Oh, man,
yeah, no, honestly, I knew when we came into this episode and we were getting our cards all together, I could just sense the excitement from you, because I know you were really excited about this episode in particular. Aubrey Edwards, why are you excited about this show? Who do we have here today?
We are joined today by one of my absolute favorite people that when I saw her walk into the locker room, I'm like, it's about damn time. She's one of the UK's top wrestling stars, known for her powerhouse style, fearless presence, and she's made waves internationally before she ever showed up at AEW, before she ever got her graphic. In July, welcome Alex Windsor.
Hello, Windsor. I need that as my introduction now. Whoa, that was
always
really bigged me up there. Thanks.
Windsor. Just so you know, anytime I hear it in the entrance, I'm saying it in my head when I stand in the ring. I'm like, Windsor.
I know.
Quietly
it just gets more unhinged every time I say it now.
Oh my God. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So it's speaking of saying Windsor in the ring, I've had the amazing opportunity and privilege to be able to work with you so many times already in the short time you've been here. And I want to talk a little bit about Forbidden Door, because I feel like that was one of my favorite matches that I've had with you. It was you, Bazilla, Mercedes Moné, Persephone. And I really felt, and so did the fans as well, that you really held your own in that match. These are some of the best girls internationally, domestically, who are just in wrestling right now and pushing women's wrestling. What did being a part of that match feel like, especially in a city that you live in?
Oh my God, yeah. I think there are so many factors that was nerve-wracking, but at the same time, obviously being in front of your hometown country is amazing, but it also adds that little bit of pressure. And then to be in the ring with obviously they're 3 amazing talents, but they're all so different. So it's knowing and because we found out one by one, it was kind of adding that extra bit of excitement, and then obviously when it was all 4 of us, it was just okay, this is gonna be absolutely sick. Before we even had the match, you just know that the talent that's in there, you just just know like what kind of styles are being brought to the table, like the mix of all of it. So it was a stressful day, like I won't lie, it was so stressful, but the payoff was just incredible. Like I got backstage afterwards and was just like, I don't know what to do, I don't know whether to cry, whether to be happy, whether to just stuff my face, whether to drink. It was just like there were so many emotions flying around that day.
Well, it's been like a huge roller coaster with you in AEW, like so quickly, because it feels like even as you had made waves in the UK, the way that the American AEW fans have taken to you so fast has blown my mind. I mean, I want to talk about that journey a little bit and how we got here, because I remember back in May of 2024, it was the last show right before Double or Nothing.
Yes.
And right as we're about to hit that show, you got to team up with Anna Jay to take on Willow Nightingale, who was the TBS champion at the time, and Kris Statlander, and on a Rampage. And I remember as that match came together, everybody's super excited. We're like, oh my God, like, because you had been around so much, but at that point it was like, oh my God, we finally get to have Alex in an AEW ring. What was that day like? And did that kind of set in motion, okay, this is where I want to be?
Yeah, I think leading into it, obviously, like I'd been over with Will a few times, and I've always said, like, it's like the unwritten rule, isn't it? Always bring your gear, like no matter what the circumstances are, always bring your gear. So I did that time as well, and then it was kind of like a very much, oh, you know, I'm just here, not really doing anything. And all of a sudden it's like, you've got a match today, and it's like, oh, okay then. Like it's all just like 0 to 100 so quickly. So obviously, like looking at AEW from being an outsider at the time, obviously it was like one place that I would absolutely love to wrestle. Like that, you know, there's loads of places that I'd say I would love to work for, but that was like right at the top, like massive gap between anything else. So being like put into that situation again, stressful, but it's just like, right, you gotta do it. Like sometimes you have just got to be in those situations where you are thrown in at the deep end and you haven't really got a choice other than just to go for it. Like it was like it's stressful, but then the payoff is just like, well, I've just got to wrestle in AEW. Like, so that was like my first little like inside to it. And then obviously after that, having wrestled for the company, it was just like, oh, like I just want it more now.
Mm-hmm. I love that you were one of the participants in the women's casino gauntlet match at All In, because it's big, like hearing your entrance music play and hearing how excited people were with the few times that you had appeared on AEW television up to that point. It was like, oh, this girl's a star. Our fans already love her. Like I'm just looking at my watch going, when's this graphic going to show up? When is it going to be there? What was it like being in sort of the biggest show we had done in the US at that point?
Oh my God. You know, again, it's like, it's knowing that you're going to debut at one point, but not knowing when. There was always that anticipation of like, is it going to be today? Like, is it going to be a Dynamite? Is it going to be a Collision? Like, I had no idea. I knew it was coming, but I just didn't know when. So when I found out like I was going to be in the gauntlet, it was just kind of like, fuck, like this isn't any show that I would have thought that I would be debuting on. And then obviously like I was the last entrant as well, so it was kind of like there's that not added pressure, but being the last person, you have to kind of hope that you're going to get some kind of reaction being the last one. So when I heard the music, that was the first time I like properly had my music as well. So even I said to myself, like, even if I just get like a little reaction, I'll be happy with that. So I just know that like even a few people knew who I was and was like excited to see me. So but hearing the music and then hearing the reaction, I was just kind of like, oh, this is so cool. And then obviously coming out and just like seeing everything, I don't think I had enough time to really, I mean, like, I guess like, you know, being a gauntlet match, you don't have enough time to stand around and take it in. You have to get straight to the ring. And my main thought was like, don't fall over, don't slip on that ramp, otherwise I may as well just see myself out and never to be seen again. But yeah, like just getting in there, and obviously first person I meet in there is Shuri, who I'd just a month before had like one of my last matches on the indies for a little while. So that was like, it was an unknown thing that I'd be like wrestling her. So being able to like have one of my last matches on the Indies, and then my first match at AEW, I'm in the ring with her. Like, that was like so special. I said to her, like, it really means a lot that I was able to share the ring with you, like, in front of that crowd. Like, it, you know, it was really special.
Well, in that moment in itself, like the way that, again, talking about the fact that you had such a presence in the UK, but, you know, we're talking about our biggest US audience. And I think the fact that they responded to you the way they did, and they had seen you on AEW TV before. You know, you had wrestled Toni Storm just about a year prior. And it was one of those things where it just felt like, okay, when are we going to see her here? When is it going to be official? For a lot of people, especially just the viewers, it felt like it's just a matter of time before she's here. But, you know, as we're talking about this timeline, it was only 2 months ago, right? Like, it really just feels like it has gone from 0 to 100 so quickly.
It really has.
How has that felt? You know, that trajectory where it just feels like there's been kind of a rocket on your back since All In.
Honestly, like, I feel wrestling-wise and personally, everything has just gone from 0 to 100, and sometimes it is the best way to do it, because, you know, on one side of it, I feel like I don't have enough time to really sit and let it sink in, but on the other foot, I'd rather just be thrown in at the deep end. You know, I've been pushed out of my comfort zone more times than I ever thought I would be, like, within wrestling in the space of 2 months. But, you know, looking back on it now, I'm kind of like, I love that. Like, you know, I think that's what everyone wants to do. Like, no one wants to join their dream company and be like, oh, you know, I wish I could be doing this, I wish I could be doing that. Like, I'm in a position where I've just been, like, given the ball and I am just trying to keep up with it. Like, but I wouldn't change it.
Oh my God, it's just been an incredible run. I want to say real quick, because I know one of the recent matches you've had, it was you and Mercedes in Philly opening up Dynamite. Just such an incredible run. And I remember, because my husband was at his parents' place, so they were watching it. My father-in-law is not a wrestling fan whatsoever. I show up the next day and he's like, that match was excellent. Those girls were so good. And I'm like, yeah, of course they were. And in my mind, I'm like, it's just like a standard for me at this point that, like, everyone on our division has, like, grown to, like, an incredible, like, high level. And then I was like, oh yeah, no, that's great. Like, the first time people are seeing somebody going, wow, these women are killing it. So, I mean, I'm going to put you over so much on this podcast, but I love you so much. And I love getting the chance to work with you. And it's so great. We got to take a quick break. We've got more with Alex coming up after this, including her background, Japan, Will Ospreay, I'm sure we'll talk about. Stay tuned here on AEW Unrestricted.
AEW Unrestricted. It's Will Washington, it's Aubrey Edwards, but most importantly, it is Alex Windsor. Alex, I wanted to ask you about kind of the start of the journey. It's been, it's about 16 years?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there?
Oh my God.
16, 17 years?
Your wrestling career can drive now.
Yeah.
Oh God, I know. Oh!
I'm sorry.
Thanks for bringing that to my attention.
I'm so sorry.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the background and kind of what were some of your earliest inspirations in getting you into professional wrestling. Where did it start for you?
Oh God, honestly, I pretty much accidentally got into wrestling. Like, I wish I had a story of, like, oh, it was this match when I was this age, and, like, seeing that made me want to be a wrestler, but it completely happened by accident. I had about, like, one good, like, really close friend at school, and she was training to be a wrestler. Like, her dad wrestled, like, in the UK, like, a little bit, and it, you know, it was just so happens that she was like, oh, I've got training this weekend, like, do you want to try it? And I just thought, well, you know, I've tried, like, drum lessons, piano lessons, guitar lessons, horse riding, and nothing stuck. But I just wanted to try everything. So I thought, I'll give it a go. Like, sports, drama, it's a good mix of, like, the stuff I liked at school. I did a training weekend, and other than the fact that the day after I felt like I'd been hit by a bus, I loved it. And it was just like, I just loved the whole, like, the theatrics of it, the physicality of it, and I was about 15 when I started. So after that, I was just like, I think I've actually found something I really enjoy. Like, my parents were like surprised that I actually kept it up longer than a few months, because everything else I'd just like, yeah, give it a try. Nah, not really happy with it. But this was just like, oh, it blew my mind.
Oh man, it's so great. And like falling accidentally into wrestling was probably the best, because like I was very similar in my background, and it's like, oh, this is really freaking cool. And to know that you can now like pay your bills with it, it's
honestly,
it's like this is just something you did for fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, just stumbling into it and just finding like that I really just enjoyed doing it. I mean, obviously, I feel like now, you know, I would love to have grown up watching it, because there are so many people like that have those moments, and like, you know, when you see when people like come back from years ago, there's that like emotional attachment to it. But I feel like I'm starting to get that side of it, and I feel like that's the side of wrestling that I really love, that I didn't really like have that connection with before.
Honestly, those are some of my favorite stories that I hear on this show. Like, every time we talk to somebody, and I always want to know what your history and origin is with wrestling, but like, there's something special about trying it and feeling a connection to it. Like, it's almost like it was just something that was missing from your life, and you didn't even realize it was missing from your life. But once you got it, especially feeling the way you did the next day, you know, that car crash feeling, you know, I took one bump and I was like, oh my God, this is not for me.
Yeah.
But do this for a living? What?
But otherwise, you know, when I hear that, I think there's a magic to that, because then you know that's what you were meant to do. You know that's what your calling was, right? Because it wasn't something that you aspired to, but once you had it, you knew this was yours. And I think there's something special to that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, like I said, like I tried so many other things, and I just thought that it would be another thing that I've tried just because my friend said I should. And then, well, yeah, like 16 years later, here I am. Like,
Was there sort of a moment where you were like, I could do this as a full-time thing? Like that, because I feel like there's sort of that moment for most people where it's like, this is fun, this is cool, whatever. But knowing that, oh, this could be the thing I do if I just focus my intention on it. Is there any sort of moment where that happened?
so I think I kind of like revamped myself a little bit, and I tried to kind of, you know, like make it on the indies. And I think when I started getting like the regular work, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every week, it was kind of like, it kind of started off as like, it wasn't a sudden like, oh, I can make loads of money off this. It was kind of like, I can maybe do part-time at work and wrestle. So it was sort of like a steady sort of incline, where it was kind of like, okay, I don't just need to have my shoot job and then wrestle as a hobby. I can actually like balance the two. And then I guess when you started seeing other people doing it, it's kind of like, well, it's not actually in the realm of like impossible. So it wasn't like a sudden, oh, I'm going to make money just being a wrestler. It was kind of like it was a bit of a slow burner, like to fully realize you can actually make a living out of this, just like putting our pants on and getting in the ring with people. Like, it's mad when you think about it, really.
It really is.
So tell us about Liberty, and and kind of the origin of Liberty. Like, where did that come from, and how? I guess it's a two-part question, because what made you decide to switch away from it? But we'll start with the original name.
Honestly, I wish there was some deep-rooted story to that, but it was just a case of, I think I had my fourth training school. We had like a training show at the end of the weekend just to showcase all the trainees, and it was my first one. And I think my tag team partner, who was the girl that got me into wrestling, Danielle, her name is Amy Lee Kramer, I think was her wrestling name. She was like, you need a name. And I thought, well, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. And it was literally a case of a trainer come up to me, you're Liberty. I was like, okay. All right. I don't have any other ideas, so that's my name then. And I think with that, obviously, because they gave me the name, obviously, while I was just at that company, it didn't really bother me. But then when I actually saw that there was other wrestling companies about, and you could wrestle in multiple companies, not just tied down to one, I was a bit like, well, if I'm going to be doing this myself, I want to have a character, a persona that I have thought of myself. So that's when I started playing around with like different names, and that's where Alex Windsor came about.
Yeah, it's a much better choice. I'm just gonna put that out
Yeah.
there. Like it's kind of it rolls off the tongue, kind of more memorable. Like you can do
Yeah.
that Windsor thing. Like it's great. Good job there.
Thanks.
One of the things I wanted to talk about, because it's a very recent in my mind, because I got to check off my bucket list item of being a part of Eve recently.
Yeah.
And I know you've been a big part of Eve Riot Girl Wrestling in the UK. What makes Eve so unique from your perspective?
Oh, honestly, obviously the wrestling that, you know, it's an all women's company, and it has, I remember wrestling for Eve I think I debuted in 2011. So it's been such a long standing company that has weathered, or you know, like even like during COVID and that, there were so many companies that sort of fell off the scene, and Eve came back with such like a vengeance almost. It was like we've powered through this, like all women together, and just I think it really mirrors that how it is backstage. Like the atmosphere out there is incredible, and I think that's because backstage all the girls it's just we all look forward to seeing each other. And you know, it's not that you don't in anywhere else, but there was like a time where I was doing like Eve constantly, and there was like a whole group of us that were on every show, and it was just a case of like we were just so looking forward to seeing each other. And then like when you put matches together, because you're just excited to be there with each other, that then carries on in your matches. And I think every girl that has either is in Eve now or has left has always said it's always like going back home. And like that's for me as well. Like even if I wasn't on the shows, even just being around it and watching the other girls, like everyone is just so supportive as well. Like I can't say like enough good things about it.
It's one of those places that's like, and that's sort of the beauty of the indies, right? Is you sometimes choose your bookings based on, I just really like working here and I like all the people involved, rather than, you know, working at this other place. So it's people, I think, in wrestling or out of wrestling don't really understand that it's this like, and having seen it firsthand, like that locker room is incredible. Everybody involved with that show is phenomenal. Like the production level, the attention to detail. I got to have Will in my ear because he produced the match that I was working on, but I know he's heavily involved in the show. He's producing.
Oh yeah, he absolutely loves it.
Yeah, and I've seen him backstage. He's one of those guys that really cares about women's wrestling, and he's watching matches, not just yours, but he's watching like Sky's, he's watching everybody's, and he's really trying to like help us build our division, which is phenomenal that you have the support from someone who is like that high. So what's it like working with Will? I guess.
I mean, honestly, like I think he first started coming in, obviously, you know, like when I worked the shows, he'd just come along to watch, and then obviously being the wrestling fanatic that he is, he'd start being like, okay, can I just give this person advice? Can I just give that person advice? And I think over time, again, it wasn't just a case that he just came in and was like, right, I'm running this now. It was kind of like a steady, he wanted to get more and more involved, and obviously with the help of Dan. So when he's there now, like, you know, again, like he obviously helps me with my matches, but he gives every single girl on the show as much dedication and advice and just time to work with all the girls. Like, you know, you can just tell, obviously, he loves wrestling, but he loves the other side of it, not just being in the ring himself. He loves helping produce, and he loves elevating the girls. Like there's I think I remember there's a girl called Lucy Sky, and he said to her before, can you do a frog splash off the top? She was like, I don't know. He was like, just try it. He was like, I think if you can do that, like that will just help elevate you. So he just, again, he pushes the girls outside of their comfort zone. And then when it pays off, you know, you just to see how happy they are with it. And it helps just like elevate them personally. So just, yeah, I think having him around, it just helps boost the morale even more than like it already is.
And even this, you know, talking about your time with Eve, because you got to work. You mentioned Shuri. That was one of you. That was your last match there, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yes. And then you got to wrestle Jamie Hayter earlier this year, and that ended up being kind of a big thing because you know, I think it's pretty well known at the now that, you know, Jamie had the visa stuff going on and couldn't come back here. And so like it was a big treat for fans I remember when that graphic went up of you two getting to work each other, and all of a sudden everybody's like, oh my God, we get to see Alex Windsor and Jamie Hayter.
God,
and, you know, at the time that wasn't even thought of as an AEW match, but I think just everything we're kind of throwing out there, that kind of leads to my overarching question of like, talk about kind of the health of the UK wrestling scene and just kind of how it's treated you and how it's been for you and kind of the differences in coming over here.
I mean, honestly, I think like there's been like waves on the UK scene. Like I feel like pre-COVID, even to the point where like I think I was on my hiatus at that point. I had an injury. I just like had my son. Watching it from the outside in, it was like booming just before COVID, and then obviously after COVID, it was like we were finding our feet again. And I feel like the past maybe year, 2 years, it's really just everyone has tried to get it back to that stage again. I feel like there was a point where it was like, oh, it's not going to be the same again. But I just think between like all of us, you know, like the regular companies in the UK, we all tried so hard just to be like, we want this to have that boom again like it had before. And I feel like we are absolutely there now. So I feel like as well with, you know, the amount of like AEW Eve crossovers we've been having at the minute, obviously it helps elevate Eve like completely, but it's just that whole freedom like the girls have. They can just come over here, and I think again with the Eve locker room, everyone wants to have the best match of the night, but not in like I'm gonna have a better match than you. Everyone just sees like, you guys had such an awesome match, and it just drives the other girls to like, right, fuck it, like everyone just wants to go all out and just completely just like knock it out of the park. And I think that like that it attracts like attention like worldwide. Like when you know the people on that show, every single person is just wanting to do their best, like it shows.
It really does. And it's just incredible to see all of, you know, us that have made our way through being a part of it and then seeing this incredible indie scene grow. And it's, oh man, it's unreal because it's like, oh, these are some people who might be my future coworkers someday. It's been really cool.
Exactly.
Really cool. It's awesome.
It's proper special.
It really is. And this whole interview is very special. And we've got a little bit more coming up after the break. We're going to talk Japan. We're going to talk being a mother. We're going to talk all the amazing things that happen with Alex Windsor here at AEW on AEW Unrestricted. Stay tuned after the break. AEW Unrestricted, we're having a phenomenal conversation with Alex Windsor. Like Will and I are just both like, I want to talk to her. I want to talk to her. I want to talk to her. Like it's just, it's an incredible flow and an incredible discussion and all these sort of things. I know we've got Japan to talk about, but I want to take a quick moment because you're sort of in a unique position that not a lot of women in wrestling have really gotten to experience yet, but you're a mother who works full-time in wrestling and travels internationally. And to see both you and Will so attentive as parents and wanting to help your son like grow and have a good life and not have to be like moved around constantly. What is that like sort of prioritizing your family in the wrestling world?
I think it's definitely been like a massive reality check for me. So, you know, since we've been together, it's kind of like I've sort of not taken a hit within wrestling, but I feel like if Will was away, I would make sure like I wasn't taking any bookings to be at home with my son. So to now be in a position where I've kind of like not got a choice, because obviously I wanted to do this, but it's kind of like it's that next step in not just my career, but like I guess being a mum, because it's, you know, it's a sacrifice that I've had to make, but you know, in the long run, I want to be able to say to my son, like looking back, like that I've prioritized being a mother, but also my career. Like I don't want to look back and say like I've had to choose between one or the other. So it's hard. Like, you know, I feel like recently I've been very in and out, and I kind of feel like almost out of place at home sometimes. But I feel like when I am home, it does make it so much more like special. You know, I want to do as much as I can with my son when I am home, and like, you know, he's also at an age where he's very in the moment. So obviously when I do leave, it, you know, it breaks his little heart and it breaks my heart, but then he's with my parents or he's with Will, so he's just he lives in the moment. So, you know, I know that when I'm gone, he's he's in safe hands. You know, he's absolutely fine. And, you know, I think when he's older, he'll probably be able to understand it more as well.
You know, I was just thinking about the fact that this is honestly your second appearance on this show now that I think about it, because I was thinking about when Will was on the show the first time. And
right.
again, but it was, yeah. Again, it was just like the family dynamic, right? Where like there's just so much going on at home, because when you guys are at home, you guys are a family, and you guys prioritize each other. And you know, I'm just thinking about those moments that probably got cut from the podcast where he had to like pause for a second and then check on you or check on your son. And it was just like, it was little things like that. And to know that you guys have each other and have each other to kind of keep the ball rolling, keep everything afloat, and make sure that, you know, you were mentioning your parents, and you know, it's that whole kind of village aspect of making sure everybody's taken care of and allowing you to pursue your career and be a wrestling star on TV the way you've been. And I said all that to say that you guys are kind of in a bit of an interesting dynamic right now, because with Will hurt right now, and Will off of TV and off of full-time wrestling really for the first time in forever. And how has that kind of dynamic kind of shifted things now that you guys were almost kind of passing ships? As you came in, he was going out, and now all of a sudden you're, you know, full-time on TV. How is that? Yeah, you're here every week in the same way that he was. How has that dynamic kind of shifted things?
Yeah, we have completely swapped roles, like just in an instant. I mean, I think obviously being the one that's like normally at home, it's a lot for me to have to be like, right, I'm not only just leaving my son, you know, I'm obviously like leaving Will behind as well. But then I think when I'm away, it's so nice that they get to have that quality time together, because it's quite rare that it's just Will and our son at home, because obviously he's normally the one that is away a lot. And then for the first few weeks that I started, we were both away. So as much as it is hard to know, like, I'm like having to leave, you know, my favourite people at home, I can't complain about it, because they have such a lovely time together. And, you know, like I said, it's probably the first time for Will as well that he's doing the school run, you know, he's getting our son ready in the mornings and that kind of thing. Like, it's a good dynamic, the fact that he's now getting to have that time with our son that he probably wouldn't get if he wasn't. Obviously, you know, in the grand picture of it, I don't want him to be injured, but there's always that silver lining that he gets to have, like, build up their bond more. And then when we are together again, it just makes it so much more special.
That was one of the things I noticed backstage at Eve, is people were checking on Will, like, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's like, are you excited to be a stay-at-home dad? Was the question that, like, everybody, like, the second obvious one that everybody said. Because it's like, it's very clear that you guys have set up this very publicly, that you guys are a caring family, that you share the roles, that you do all these things. And it's like, it's just really cool that, like, all of us know that. And it's really important to see that, like, where was I going with this? That, like, you can have it all. You can prioritize your careers, both of you, while also still being very attentive and loving parents. And I think that's really important to see in wrestling at this time, because you used to not be able to do that. And it's just like, thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Yeah, it is like a bit of a juggling act, but I feel like, again, you don't really think about it. You just have to do it. You know, I guess, like, with being a parent, I just think no matter how tired I am, or, like, you know, I might, you know, get home on a Friday morning and I just want to do nothing. But then I've had a couple of times where my flight gets in at 6 a.m. and the first thing I think of, I wonder if I'll be home in time to make the school run. You know, like, it's, as soon as I'm out of wrestling mode, I'm straight into just like, I just want to see my son, like, get into mum mode. And it, you know, it's tiring, but again, I love it.
It's so great. It's so great. Complete left turn.
Yeah.
Speaking of something that's great, I want to talk about your time in Japan. You were with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. You did some New Japan stuff. There's so much stuff that you ended up doing in Japan. Like, I want you to talk about some of your favorite things and favorite moments of your time over there.
Oh, honestly, well, the first time I went to Japan, my gear got lost, so that was like, it wasn't the best start. I made the rookie mistake of putting my gear in a check bag.
You never check your gear.
I know. I learned that one the hard way, honestly. But just like, you know, the minute I got there, obviously everyone was so helpful, and I just feel like that. In that, I found how welcoming like the girls are over there, and I think when you go over there, it's just like the level of respect they have for you coming into their country, and they see it as like I don't know the word for it, but like, you know, coming into their country, I'm like, I just want to be like the utmost respect for all of them, but they have that for you as well. Yeah,
immediately.
Yeah, it's like, it's so nice. And obviously, you know, there's the language barrier, but with that, you learn so many other things about them that you wouldn't get with someone like that speaks the same language as you. And the caliber of matches they have out there, again, you go there and you think, right, like these girls are like at the highest level. So again, it pushes you to then have your best match as well. And I honestly feel like I've had some of my best matches out there. And same with like when Eve was brought over, the talent from Japan. I feel like they're just so good at elevating people. Like, I don't know how they do it, but they're such a special group of people.
Well, what was how was the environment as far as, you know, the fan base was concerned, as far as you know, wrestling in front of the Japanese audience, because it is very, very different, and you know, just as a viewer, everybody kind of gets a grasp of how different it really is. How was it for you as a performer?
I would say they're very, obviously going from like the UK, where every show they're like the rowdiest bunch of people, and then Japan, like they're so polite, so you kind of feel like you have to really not like work really hard for them to get any reaction, but like it's kind of like a good sort of challenge, because you kind of have to change how you interact with them. And then you have, again, you know, with the language barrier and them maybe not like always knowing who you are, you then have to get a different level of like connection with them. But when you do get that, it completely, the feeling you get from it is amazing. Oh, my cat's just made an appearance. Sorry.
We love it. We are a cat podcast. That is.
Yeah, Ruth doesn't like to be on camera, but she's been walking around in the background like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
And it's funny that you said that now, because I'm now realizing I don't know where my cat is, because she should have, at least at some point in the last...
at least one appearance. Like...
I know. So she is not around this morning. So that's okay. But yeah, I guess... You know, every time I've talked to somebody who's definitely used to the kind of westernized audience that is really rowdy, and like, especially in the UK, as they get very sing-songy, and then you get in Japan, and it's like it's almost that sense of like
it's like they're at a formal dinner.
It's like respectful admiration for what you're doing. Like, they definitely...
they're very like reserved, aren't they? It's almost like they don't want to be too like...
It's almost like they don't want to disturb the performance of what they're watching, because it's like, we just want to enjoy this, and like, so you get a lot of oohs and ahs, but it's not necessarily the kind of rowdiness that you get out of, again, the Western wrestling fans. But it's different enough in a way where I feel like, and I think you'd agree with this, that it's an experience everybody should get at least one time.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I would recommend to anyone like just to do even just like a short tour, or as long as you want, like in Japan, because I feel like anyone that's gone Japan for like however many amount of time, they come back a different wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's one of them.
Yeah, like I was talking to Will when he came back, and he's like, when Anna Jay came back from her little stint, it was like just the amount of like crispness that you get, and the approach to how you hit people is suddenly different.
Yeah, and even like the smallest details.
The smallest details. So I'm curious, like, what was sort of the biggest thing you learned from Japan that has affected your current in-ring style?
Do you know, I feel like the vocalizations of it, and I just think since I've been there, having the impact of a move, but then having that like noise with it, almost just, I don't know how to explain it, just sort of changes how you work. Like every move they make as a statement, because they put every little ounce of their energy into every single thing that they do. it just escalates the match and it just makes it a spectacle. And no like detail is left out in all their matches, like whether they're on the cell, whether they're like on top of you. Like they put in so much of their whole selves into every part of the match, and I feel like that you going away from that, and like when you carry it on with like the matches, you just think like, oh, like it makes sense why they do it, because it just gets such a good reaction.
Well, let's shift gears back over here a bit, because one of the things I wanted to talk about is, again, 0 to 100, that rise for you. That recently you got to step in the ring with Mercedes Moné. And it was one of those things where I couldn't have imagined that just a few months ago, when you put that graphic up and it's Mercedes Moné versus Alex Windsor, it's like it would get the reaction it did. But it's amazing how much you have grown with the AEW audience in just that short amount of time, that when we announced that match, it was like, okay, this is something everybody wants to see. This is now sit down television. I have to see this match. And then you guys knocked it out of the park. Let's talk about kind of what that was like for you in that Philadelphia arena, 2300 arena, getting to work with Mercedes.
Oh my God, like honestly, I never would have thought, obviously before coming into AEW, and certainly when I first started, like I would be having a singles match with Mercedes Moné. Like I remember when I first got told that we were doing the tag match, I was kind of like, oh, like that was like a big of a deal, like for me, just to be in the same ring as her. I remember when I first ever met her, I was injured, and I think I was just at New Japan Strong with Will, and I just remember seeing her and thinking like, fucking hell, like it's crazy that she's here. So I never ever would have thought that our paths would have crossed to have that match with her. And I remember I think she'd obviously done the promo, mentioned myself, mentioned Will, and Will said to me, he was like, you're going to end up having a match with her because she's like, she's called you out. And I was just like, oh my God, like this is like, I needed to get my biggest girl pants on, put them on, like... But having, the match, honestly, like I feel like that is one of my favourite matches that I've had. Obviously going up against her, and then even just like the little things, having like so many people behind me before the match, and then like the reactions it got during it, and like the fact that, you know, I think we were like, oh, we're going to be like on first, we're going to be on main, and like knowing that you get to open up the show, that's just like, okay, like we've got to set the tone. So that was like, going into it, I was like, okay, like this is, if you're going to start a show, like you need to like come in hot. And I just feel like afterwards it was just such a like, oh, that was so cool. I remember like laying there after the match just thinking like, fucking hell, like that was, I'm going to remember that for like a long time.
It's incredible because like that's such a pivotal match, but it's only the beginning, right? Like you've just got this incredible future ahead of you. I'm so excited to see all of the combinations of you in singles matches and tag matches with everybody in our locker room, and just to see everybody just tussle and have this all these incredible matches, these incredible stories. And I'm just so happy you're here, Alex. This is amazing.
Thank you. So am I. Onwards and upwards, as they say.
That's the only way to go, up and to the right. That's it. That's it. That's all you can do. Oh my God. Thank you, Alex. You can follow her on Instagram and Twitter at Hail Windsor. And just don't forget, AEW Unrestricted is sponsored in part by Upper Deck. You can collect your favorite wrestlers in the 2025 Upper Deck AEW Start Your Trading Card Collection today. We've got autograph, memorabilia, premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. You can listen to and follow this podcast, AEW Unrestricted, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of the amazing podcast apps, wherever you listen to your podcast. Check out the video version so you can see our smiling faces on YouTube. Just search AEW Unrestricted, hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you're not an AEW insider, you should sign up because you can get early access to ticket pre-sales, special merchandise offers, and more straight to your inbox. Sign up today, AEWTIX.com. And of course, don't forget, you can watch AEW Dynamite on TBS Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. and streaming on HBO Max. Our AEW Collision live every Saturday on TNT, also streaming on HBO Max. You can watch ROH streaming every Thursday on Honor Club. You can watch me, Aubrey Edwards, on the TV, but you can also see this guy, Will Washington, on this podcast and seeing all the work he's doing from behind the scenes appearing on the screen. Thank you so much for listening to AEW Unrestricted. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.